All right. So, here with Half Heartless Heathen and Animancer, we're going to be going over PragerU's take on the separation of church and state. So, we already took a look at this earlier. Justin, I know you had a couple of things to say about it.
Well,
Damon,
I watched
Damon,
the
have
first
you?
minute, so
Oh, okay. Damon, have you seen this one yet?
I've never seen this before. I very rarely look at PragerU videos. I used to do it for my show, but I just couldn't take it
Yeah.
anymore.
the
Honestly,
only time I ever see a Prager University video anymore is like the first 5 seconds of it as an ad on a different YouTube video before I
Yeah.
take it away.
Yeah,
Yep.
mostly the only time I ever see them is stuff like this, video responses, and people just tearing them apart.
I feel
I
like they
want to
just
take a crack
exist.
at it.
I don't
I feel-
even think it qualifies as tearing apart, because I was telling you before, they're kind of an easy target. It's less tearing apart, more like pulling apart silly putty.
Yeah, but surprisingly, a lot of people actually listen to this shit.
It's true.
And they buy it.
Well,
Take
A
my
lot of
landlords,
right-wing-
for example. My landlords, this is my landlord's favorite YouTube channel.
A lot of right-wing names are contributors to PragerU too. Like a lot of fucking big fucking names that people follow and take seriously on the internet. People who I think are fucking jokes, like Steven Crowder and shit. But people with fairly fucking notable and sizable followings, yeah, they contribute and do segments on PragerU. So it as big of a joke as it is. I mean, a lot of people actually watch this shit and take it seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, they must. The channel has what, like over 2 million subscribers?
Yeah, something like
Yeah.
that. Their
Yeah.
production value is okay.
Sure.
Is it an actual university? Like, is there an actual university behind this? Or do they just call themselves that?
I don't know. I almost don't want to know the answer to that because I feel like it is, and then I'm just going to be that much more disappointed in humanity.
That or they're one of those people, like whatever Trump's weird college thing was. And maybe that's why they dropped the university and now they're just PragerU.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. All right. So should we just get started? And then one of you two can yell at me to stop it if you have something to interject with?
Exactly.
All right.
Almost everyone has heard of the doctrine of the separation of church and state. Most Americans believe that it's in the United States Constitution. But there is no such phrase in the Constitution, and there never was. For a simple reason.
I already want to say pause. This isn't new information. This is a thing they teach you in elementary school. You read through the Bill of Rights. And I know again in middle school we did it. Sure, maybe people have forgotten the exact phraseology since that time, but I don't know, he's phrasing it like he's breaking some unknown information to people, but this is like common, easily accessible, regularly taught knowledge.
Yeah. To expand on that too, a lot of people misinterpret the Bill of Rights and all of the different amendments as not in the Constitution, when in fact they are. That's actually what an amendment is. You actually amend the original thing, so it is now a part of it. Now, the exact phrase, separation of church and state, sure, is not in the Constitution or any of the amendments, but who cares?
Yeah, I know where the video goes. We'll get to that in like a minute.
Yeah.
It's attempting to use that basically as a hook to get people in and be like, oh, that's really interesting, and then try and sell this bullshit idea on them. That's basically what the purpose of that type of statement is. To get people thinking and become open-minded to the stupid ideas that they're about to shove down your fucking gullet.
Right. All right. Let's see how long we can last before we have to stop it again.
Yeah.
The founding fathers never intended for church and state to be completely separate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, they did. I mean,
I wasn't going to say pause because he's about to bring up evidence.
Yeah, he's even going to make that point for us. We don't even have to say anything. He's gonna he's going to do it all by himself. But yeah, the reason all of these guys actually talked about all of this stuff was because this was a legitimate problem. If it wasn't even a problem, then they just wouldn't have addressed it, and the thing about religion wouldn't have even ended up in the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
So if this just like wasn't an issue, why do we have it there in the first place?
I mean, to cover your bases, I mean, you know, it's not an inherently obvious thing that, you know, murder needs to be illegal, but it's still got to be on the books somewhere.
Yeah, but murder.
They were literally founding a country. Like they had to specify what was going to be, you know, in place. Like
murder isn't disavowed in the Constitution.
Well, not my point.
I think the Constitution was made.
Yeah.
Okay,
well,
but
I mean, that depends on your definition of murder, but that's
sure.
Okay, but like, if murder isn't actually specifically disavowed in the Constitution, obviously this had some significant importance, even over hey, we shouldn't kill people.
Yeah, no. It's because the Constitution was more about like how the government should behave and respond to situations.
Right.
Murder, all that's law governing people.
Yeah, I mean, borderline hyperbole, but it was going to get legislated anyway because it had to. But this was obviously important enough that they had to make a statement on it. That way, these lines would never end up crossed, even though arguably we have crossed them anyway. But let's see if we can make it longer than another.
How much of a big issue was, you know, unwarranted search and seizure?
Oh, that was a big issue. There were British soldiers knocking down people's doors and just going around like Nazi Germany style, looking for people during, actually even before the Revolutionary War. They were hearing stirrings of rebellion, and they were going in hunting for people.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so that was a big thing on their mind. What was that?
You guys went on quite the fucking tangent there, I have to say. Hey, let's try getting through 6 more seconds of this video before we pause.
Oh, you think we're gonna make it 6? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's a bit generous.
Let's see.
They saw religion, specifically religions based on the Bible, as...
Yeah, why religions based on the Bible?
Yeah, we'll get there. Just stay quiet.
Indispensable to the moral foundation of the nation they were creating.
Okay, yeah, that's a problem.
Okay, yeah, we got to respond to that. I mean,
tying religion, like basis, the fundamentals of these religions into the foundations of the government. Like, no, this is why this shit was written to begin with. Because, no, this government was supposed to be divorced of religion. Because state religion was a problem before. That's what most of these people that made up the populations of the colonies were trying to get away from.
Sure. I've got an important question, too. A question for people who think like this. Like, why do you think that we have the Constitution if you think that the one document that we should be following is the fucking Bible and everything in there? Why do we even have the Constitution? Shouldn't we just be following the Bible by your fucking standards? You don't care about the Constitution at all? I mean, that's the type of argument that I could fucking make in that situation.
Yeah, actually, I mean,
there are some that actually advocate for that, but
I wouldn't make that exact argument. But it is worth noting that if it was true that the founding fathers believed that religion, specifically Christianity, was so important, then you would think the words Bible or Christianity would appear anywhere in the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution.
You think they would have made it very clear?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, coming up here, I think as soon as this white and orange thing slides away, I think we're going to get probably the most progressive thing that PragerU has done in quite some time. Check this out.
So where does that phrase come from? It comes from one brief letter that Thomas Jefferson
coming up
wrote
after this.
to the Danbury Baptist Association in 1802. At the end of a very long sentence in which Jefferson affirms his conviction that religious belief should be a private matter and that the government should not interfere with such matters.
Nice job, TJ.
What?
What was that?
Dude, he was the only one who was this fucking outspoken about religion, really, when it came to this. Like, he spoke about it the most, Thomas Jefferson, I'd say, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
And,
so
I had mentioned something before we started the stream, but I had who said it wrong. It was actually John Adams that said, and I'm going to read the exact quote here now. The government of the United States is not, in any sense, founded on the Christian religion.
wow.
There we go.
That's about as cut and dry as you fucking get.
That's really all you need.
Yeah, I want to let them finish up with the point on Thomas Jefferson here before I say what I want to say.
Sure.
The phrase, building a wall of separation between church and state. And that's where the phrase lived, undisturbed, lost in Jefferson's voluminous correspondence for almost 150 years. But more on that in a moment. First, let's discuss what the Constitution actually does say about religion and its role in public life. The answer is found in the First Amendment to the Constitution. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. It's plain what those words mean. The federal government could not establish a national religion, the common practice in Europe. The United States was going to be different. Americans would be free to follow the religion of their choice.
So right here, I actually have nothing wrong with anything they said there, because they're just kind of reading out of a textbook. But this right here is probably the most progressive thing I have ever seen from PragerU.
3 religion symbols displayed together? Seriously? That's
No. This one in particular.
yeah, Islam. Oh,
Yeah.
they've never shown any Islam symbolism
Just
before?
because they're making the argument that Americans should be allowed to be Muslims. I mean, I doubt you're literally. I mean, I bet deep down some of them believe it, but I doubt you're ever going to hear them outspokenly say, "You literally should not legally be able to be Muslim."
Oh no, they'll never say that, because they're not that stupid. They know the logical end to that.
Yeah,
but
they're more disingenuous than that.
Actually, no. Because some of them have actually tried this, like with the statues of Baphomet and stuff.
Well, that to them is just a little too beyond. Like that's to them just too much. They see that as an affront to their own religion.
Yeah, they see it as like in bad faith.
That doesn't matter. I mean, I would argue that a whole lot of what all sorts of religions say is in bad faith to my own beliefs. So,
well, sure, but
I mean, sure, but that's like a logical approach, and unfortunately, a lot of religious people don't employ that type of thinking. So
yeah, that's pretty much what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but like, I honestly don't care how you feel. I mean, isn't that Ben Shapiro's fucking punchline? Is facts don't care about your feelings? Like, yeah, I honestly don't really care.
Don't hit play yet though, because now that we're paused, I want to respond to something he had said about about that letter from Thomas Jefferson just being lost in his list of correspondences, as if the fact that it wasn't like a formal document doesn't still mean like that's still the founding father talking about the fucking foundation of America. He is still directly talking about pretty much the First Amendment directly there. Like, he's paraphrasing it, but that doesn't mean the fact that it was just his personal letter to someone else doesn't in some way invalidate that it was from him.
Right.
Now, I guess it was not some sort of legal document, but again, he's just paraphrasing the actual fucking legal document.
Right, but I would also argue that it doesn't matter what any of the individual founding fathers said at any given point. What actually matters are the official documents.
Sure,
the Constitution
and again,
and everything.
But again, if you're going to go that direction, like if I'm not allowed to use the John Adams quote about specifically saying the United States was not founded on the Christian religion, then he cannot just inject the Christian religion into a document that does not in any way reference Jesus, the Bible, Christianity, or anything denominationally specific.
Right. I think what was going on in the minds of an author while they were creating a document is very much relevant to the meaning of that document.
Yeah.
Yes, and ultimately, we are not the ones that get to make that call, and we'll get to that once this guy gets to it.
He has a point. Like, out of all of the founding fathers, didn't Thomas Jefferson literally write the fucking thing?
Yeah, but
I would think his opinion, out of anyone's, does hold a bit more weight.
No. Just because he's the one that penned it doesn't mean that his word actually carries more weight than any of the other ones.
It's not like he, as a single person, was the only one to come up with any of the ideas, obviously.
Yeah, and there was a whole team of people that set this shit up. This isn't Thomas Jefferson's fucking country.
Counterpoint, though, do we care about what J.K. Rowling now says about Harry Potter?
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that. Luckily, J.K. Rowling has never ruled the country and hopefully never will.
Just a joke.
Yeah, but
mine wasn't. I hope she never rules a country.
But yeah, let's let this guy ramble on for a little longer.
All right.
When James Madison first proposed what eventually became the First Amendment, his original wording was that no religion shall be established by Congress. But that language was later modified after it was pointed out that this might be taken to mean that the government, including the state governments, had no interest in religion at all.
I would like a source on this.
No, yeah, I too would like a source on that. And two things here. One, who cares about how it was originally going to be phrased? Or what one pitch was? I don't care about what one dude's pitch was in a room of, like, I don't know exactly how many guys. I'm going to safely say over a dozen.
Yeah, we're not approaching this as academics looking through the history of how was the Constitution written and what did the Articles of Confederation originally say about this and what about all the drafts of the... I don't give two fucks about the draft of the Constitution. What I care is what's in the Constitution, what is in the Bill of Rights, and other relevant things like what the justices end up saying about it later. But this is not relevant at all.
Sure, but I still want to say a couple things.
Okay.
With that exact phrasing, the no religion shall be established by Congress. See, he gets out of that, the government has no interest in religion at all. I would read that as the Congress is not allowed to literally establish their own religion. And I think that's exactly why it would have been thrown out, because people could construe that in too many different ways.
Yeah, you could either read it as Congress is not allowed to construct their own religion, or that what they probably meant, which is why they reworded it, is they're not allowed to institute a state government.
Yeah.
Or state government, state religion. But yeah, shall we continue?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
The founders did not want this. As George Washington said in his farewell address, religion and morality are indispensable supports of our political prosperity.
Again, I don't care what any individual founding father said or wrote in their own journals or papers or whatever. What I care about is what's in the Constitution, what's in the Bill of Rights, all of that. I do not care what George Washington said at his farewell address in 1796. He can be as religious as he damn well pleases.
You know what? This is something I do want to say before we go any further. As much as I loved Thomas Jefferson, and all of his positions, and to a lesser degree, Ben Franklin, But like, the beauty of it is like they're just dudes. They happened to be the ones that were in the position to create this country, but I don't think we have any obligation to be beholden to their ideas.
Of course.
Nearly 300 years later.
Exactly. These are people from fucking hundreds and hundreds of years ago. We need to keep that in fucking mind. And also, PragerU, sure, they can selectively pick out something that they like that George Washington said, but you know what else? George Washington also fucking hated political parties.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't see them talking about that.
But then
I don't see them talking about that.
But then, as much as I don't care about what George Washington said, Justin, you just said that John Adams said basically the exact opposite of this.
Exactly.
So,
and that's kind of the beauty of it. Yeah, what actually got put to paper was just what they were all able to finally reach a general consensus on. Right. Their individual opinions are not on that document.
Exactly. Yeah, there's no like hive mind of the founding fathers.
That's
very strange.
That's a common misconception too. That's a very common misconception.
I don't understand where they get this idea that like, oh, they were all on the same page.
People seem to think of them as like the fucking Olympians, like they're just this council of fucking gods.
It's true because America was founded on like this almost foundational myth of how America was created. Like it's a very fairy tale idea of how things were how this country actually came to be, which is very untrue from how it actually came to be, because even I don't know, America's in a unique position because what happened wasn't all that long ago compared to the formation of other countries. But in the grand scheme of things, it's recent enough that it's in this very interesting position where it's like, yeah, it's like this modern myth. Like, a lot of it is fucking bullshit in people's heads these days that didn't actually fucking happen.
Yeah.
Just my perception.
On that, even if we can get the concrete facts of the things they said, I do not like that people just take the word of any individual founding father as gospel. And I don't know, maybe I'm being hypocritical because I was just using that John Adams quote, as a fucking point of evidence, but
no, the funny thing with all that is a lot of people, especially people like those at PragerU, they'll often say, well, if we were to take the founding fathers and throw them in a time machine and bring them to now, they would be appalled by yada yada yada. No, I think if you took all the founding fathers, put them in a room, and said, what do you think about America in 2020? You would have opinions in every single direction.
Yeah. I mean, they'd probably all
just like you had back when they founded the fucking country. So, again, irrelevant.
And you know what? You also need to keep the era in mind. I mean, all he says here is religion, and I mean, morality is a fucking given here. But he's basically saying that religion religion was a big part of their political prosperity.
And it was at that time in some ways.
Because of the religious freedom that America was founded on.
Yeah, but also, again, think back to the time. Religion and morality were basically intertwined in the heads of a lot of these people. There were very, very, very few people that thought secularly. In fact, these guys were the pioneers of secular thought.
That's exactly why they didn't make a ruling. That's exactly why they didn't specifically make a ruling on slavery when they established the country, but did, I forget exactly what they did, but they basically like set it on a timer. Like, this is a thing that needs to be established in a set amount of years. Because they just felt people at the time were not ready to free all the fucking slaves. But they knew eventually the country would have to.
I haven't heard about that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll try to look that up later and post it in your server.
No, let's go over that after we're done with the video if this doesn't go on for too long.
I'll try to.
Sure. That's interesting. But morality. I dislike when morality is brought up in political context because it is so subjective. Take abortion, for example. Both the left and the right will say, oh, you're acting immorally because you think this way. Which one of you are right? And how can we objectively say so?
By cutting the bacon in half.
So, anyway, let's go.
Washington's view remained the nation's view throughout the 19th century and into the 20th. But that changed in 1947. In that year, in the case of Everson versus Board of Education, the Supreme Court ruled in a 5-4 decision that under the First Amendment, neither a state nor the federal government could pass laws which aid one religion, aid all religions, or prefer one religion over another.
Okay. So,
yeah, that
stop
just sounds
complaining.
Like, I mean, to me, that just sounds like the First Amendment to me, just phrased a little differently.
Yeah, and that's exactly what the judges are supposed to do.
Yeah.
They are supposed to interpret the law and figure out whether or not it was worded funny and what the correct interpretation should be. Those guys are the final arbiters of what does this say. And that's in the Constitution. The way that the Supreme Court works, that's already laid out. And because these guys want to come in here and keep invoking the Constitution, oh, that this says this and this doesn't say that. Well, I'm sorry. The Constitution very clearly lays out what the Supreme Court does, and these guys did their job. They said a thing, and you don't get to complain anymore. That's it. It's done. Unless they want to start a movement to, I don't know, rewrite the First Amendment and make them revisit it that way.
I'm sure that'll go over
great.
great.
Hold on, before we unpause, I don't know if Keon is still in the chat, but I wanted to respond to something he said, saying the founding fathers were deists. Many of them were, but not all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Again, they were not some like hive mind conglomerate.
Collective.
They were their own people. Many were deists. Like, you know, they had a higher percentage of deists than the rest of the general population, obviously, but I'm pretty sure some of them were still Christians.
I mean, clearly evidenced by that quote. I mean, at least one of them cared about religion on some level. So,
yeah, some religion. But again, I mean, deism is already. I mean, I wouldn't really call it a religion, but it is still.
I mean, it's really not.
But stands on the supernatural.
Yeah, it was early on, basically, for being agnostic or an atheist. I mean, you just gotta call yourself.
Clearly, the evidence seems to support Thomas Jefferson was, less religious than George Washington, if you're going to say something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, certainly.
But again, it doesn't really matter. At this point, we've got the text that they wrote and agreed on.
Your live streaming, I wanted to respond to a dude in the chat.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't even realize there was anybody in chat. I didn't have it open.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, I don't even care about your chatters. Damn.
Not that I didn't care. I was actually thinking about it, but because I had everything running, I wasn't able to jump out and get it open.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. I only look at it sometimes because I have to open up a whole new fucking window and pay attention to that too. I'm like,
yeah. So I apologize, Jewel, but I got the live chat open on my other screen now. So
he also says, I'm sure sarcastically, in regards to Prager University stance, he says Abrahamic religion's good, other religions bad. I doubt they actually believe that. Pretty sure they would specifically like to support Christianity, not all Abrahamic religions.
Well, Prager himself, he always brings up Judeo-Christian values all the time.
I always find that phrase funny, like Judeo-Christian instead of Abrahamic. Like it's very specifically cutting out Islam.
Oh my god, yeah. You're
right.
Yeah.
Which is why I pointed out the thing with the Islamic symbol there. That's not a thing you normally see on PragerU.
Yeah, they probably just want to look like they're not. I don't even.
I mean, they know who their audience is. They they don't really care to look like anything.
I think it's really funny, actually, that conservatives don't like Muslims. Islam is really conservative.
I mean, the funny thing that I always bring up is they're all virtually the same anyway. They have a few different stories, but they're all based in the same shit anyway.
On paper, like if you just read their holy books, they're almost indistinguishable as far as like their morality and what they ought to believe goes. But it does seem like Muslims stick much more faithfully to their holy book than modern day Christians or Jews do.
Islam is written down a little differently. Christianity has the 10 Commandments, but Islam actually has like a whole setup for how your government should be run. It's all laid out in the Quran. So it is a little bit different in that way. It's actually like not only a religion, but it also outlines a theocracy.
Okay, but I mean, it's easy enough to do that when you're tacking on, because don't forget, I mean, the Bible is just tacking on to what, the Torah, and
yeah,
what is the holy? Why can I not think off the top of my head? What's the holy book for Islam?
The Quran.
The Quran. Okay, and yeah, that's basically just a sequel to the Bible.
A sequel?
It is. It's a sequel.
Dude, they're
what
all.
else should I call it?
They're all sequels to older stories from the region in the first place.
No. See, the Bible is specifically a sequel to the Torah. The Quran is specifically a sequel to the Bible. But
they also rewrite some shit.
But they are all reboots of other religions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I like that a little better.
Take that back.
No, I will not.
I want to accept that as the truth. I'm not willing to accept that as the truth, so I want to pretend it didn't happen. All right.
Well, that's how religion works. So.
Oh yeah, that's true. Good point.
What team are you on, Damon? All right. But we've only gotten through
the reboot.
Oh, okay. We've only gotten through 2 minutes and 42 seconds of this.
But hey, that makes for a decently liked stream.
All right.
People came here. Well, one person came here to listen to us, not PragerU.
Hey Justin, if they reboot the Torah again, is that going to be a Hebrew?
Wow. Oh, hey, Jay's here.
Hey, what's up, Jay? Oh man, that's awesome.
That was good. All right, so
yeah, you gotta pad between showing it so that you don't get a copyright strike.
Yeah. Sweet. All right, let's see what these arbiters of all that is good say about what the judges said about the Bill of Rights.
For the first time in American history, the First Amendment was not only about the prohibition of establishing a national religion, it was also about not giving any encouragement to any religion. The modern strict separation view was born.
And he says this with such disdain. The tone in his voice changed.
I don't get how he thinks that this makes some sort of distinction that wasn't already there.
A lot of people.
Can you rewind? I want to hear exactly what he said again.
How far back before he?
Just where we paused it last time.
Okay.
For the first time in American history, the First Amendment was not only about the prohibition of establishing a national religion, it was also about not giving any encouragement to any religion.
Well, yeah.
Which arguably,
if you're going to show clear favorability toward one religion, then that is all but as good as establishing that as the national religion.
Right. I forget what the statistic is, but how many religions do we have worldwide?
Hold on. I have a perfect fucking example, actually, before I forget this. Isn't it the United States does not actually legally have a national religion? Or not religion, language.
Yes.
English is not on paper the national language.
Correct.
But it obviously fucking is.
Oh yeah, no, it's not officially
Like,
English.
it's basically an unspoken law.
Yep.
Interesting.
That'd be the same thing.
I didn't know that.
If you all but say Christianity is the official religion, but don't put it on paper legally, that's the same thing.
But hold on. Our immigration policy actually has people required to know English in order to.
Yeah, funny, isn't it?
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Do you want me to double check this? I mean, I'm almost 90% sure, but I can double check if you want me to. Sure. 1 second. Let me do this.
That's odd. I didn't know that. But yeah, this right here, that is how it's always been.
It's all right, Heon. I got what you meant.
Huh?
I was responding to Heon again. I was just telling him, don't worry. I got what he meant. Typo aside.
But yeah, the government has always never been able to encourage any particular religion. The logical conclusion to that, let's say they didn't only single out one religion that they wanted. Let's say they picked Christianity, Catholicism, Judaism, and I don't know. For shits and giggles, let's say Islam, because this is a hypothetical that'll never happen anyway.
Sure.
But let's say they take those four. Then wouldn't all of the people that want to practice any other religion be able to complain about that? Because now they're being singled out.
I would argue that it's not even about specific denominations. Like you said Catholicism and Christianity is two different things, but no, this helps my point. Catholicism is a type of Christianity. That's one denomination. So is Protestantism. So is Jehovah's Witnesses. So are Mormons. Right? Pretty sure Mormons are Christian.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Prostatism.
Declaring one denomination.
What?
Prostatism. declaring one denomination as the religion, or declaring, a whole group of them. Like those three examples you gave, because I'm gonna say 3, not 4. Those are all still Abrahamic religions. I would argue those can all still be categorized under one blanket. Because then how are Buddhists going to feel?
Yeah, exactly.
Feels bad, man.
But then, then you get down to the point where, at this point, LaVeyan's Satanism, for example, didn't even exist yet. So, when that becomes a thing, what are those people supposed to do? Aren't they, by default, just discriminated against just at the outset?
I mean, I'm going to argue we already are, but...
Well, yeah, socially. But not by law.
Sure.
There are no laws that actually forbid Satanists from doing anything that Christians can, or Buddhists can, or Muslims can.
There are some state laws which are technically overridden by federal laws, so they cannot be enforced.
Where you can't run as an atheist.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, there are some states where on paper, you cannot run for certain political offices unless you are of certain religions.
Yeah, Aaron Ra is actively trying to fight that in Texas.
I would say, federal law trumps that. But on the other hand, that isn't always the case, and it really just depends on what the federal government and the currently in power, what's the word? Why can't I think of the word?
Well, I mean, sure. I guess you could make.
Administration wants to enforce. Well, a good example is marijuana.
Weed. Yeah, exactly. I was going to bring that up too.
Legal in some states, still federally illegal. If the federal government really wanted to crack down, they could.
This is also a good time for me to bring this up too. I just want to bring this up real fast since we mentioned it a few moments ago. But no official language on the federal level. That doesn't mean states don't have English as their official language. Though some do.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, but now I lost my train of thought.
Sorry. This is a good picture of this guy.
Yeah, I like this one a little better.
Sorry. For legal reasons, I should say I'm not encouraging anyone to chop this man's head and arm off.
No, just Photoshop it. All right. Since I lost my train of thought, let's just keep going.
All right. Choo-choo.
The modern strict separation view was born. And where did the 5 justices look for support for their argument? Not the Constitution, because there was nothing in the Constitution to help them.
Oh, God. Except the First Amendment and
So-
logic.
So,
Pretty much a combination of the two.
So let me ask you, if you were one of those justices and one of the things in the Constitution was kind of vague and you couldn't really figure it out just in the context of the article itself or all the rest of the Constitution, where do you go?
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, if his argument is because the Constitution did not use that exact verbiage, then what the fuck do you think is the point of the Supreme Court?
Yeah,
if they're only
exactly.
allowed to use the exact phraseology in the Constitution, their jobs would be pointless.
Yeah. So, like, this is kind of a stupid point. It's just stating the obvious.
They're all stupid points.
Hey,
but
the Constitution was vague, and the vague Constitution didn't say anything about this vague thing. And they looked outside of the Constitution. This guy is just speaking with such disdain through this entire section. Really funny.
I'm surprised he doesn't just say that we shouldn't have a Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I get from this.
Curious, did PragerU ever respond to gay marriage being ruled by the Supreme Court?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm curious about that.
I'm sure they stayed quiet on that.
Well, if we're gonna touch on that, maybe we should do it another day because we've already been talking for how long, and we're just halfway through this video.
Yeah, we're going on 45
we
minutes.
do this all the time on my show too. Like they call us the fucking pause champs because we'll actually go 3 seconds every time, and then we'll just not actually talk about the actual video. We'll just go on our own fucking tangents. And
Well,
that's
most of what we've been saying, the vast majority of what we've been saying, has been about this video.
That's true. That's kind of why I stopped doing fucking videos, because I can't stay on topic about a fucking video. I just talk about other shit all the time.
Well, you have us here to rein you in, but yeah. Did you have anything else?
No.
No. Let's see how much this guy hates the Supreme Court.
It's magic
But
triangle.
to that one phrase Thomas Jefferson wrote back in 1802.
Oh no. It was one of the founding fathers. They looked to one of the founding fathers. Oh no.
No. I beg to differ. That okay, if they're going to be pulling from that as inspiration, then they would have made a ruling that explicitly stated the separation going both ways, because that's how a wall works. You can't walk through one end of the wall but not the other. Because even now, with the ruling they made, that does only stop the government from establishing anything about religions. That does not inherently stop, for instance, a religious person from using their religious ideals to influence what they believe should be law, which plenty of people do.
Yeah.
But now, I guess there's not really a I guess there's not really a way to like rule that. Like there's no way to stop that.
Yeah. So here is the only thing that I was able to find on this case. The Establishment of Religion clause of the First Amendment means at least this. At least. So it could go further, but at least this. Neither a state nor the federal government can set up a church. Neither can pass laws which aid one religion, aid all religions, or prefer one religion over another.
Even the way that's phrased allows you to be like, haha, we're just going to prefer these two religions.
Now, I would argue that you can actually pull that directly from the First Amendment. That's just the way this guy was reading the First Amendment. This was Judge Black, I believe. Yeah, Hugo Black. And he says at the end of this, in the words of Jefferson, the clause against establishment of religion by law was intended to erect, quote, a wall of separation between church and state.
If only we had some sort of council of people whose specific job it was to interpret what these vague things might mean.
Right. the funny thing though is he more used this as like a justification or clarification for his point. But like here in the middle, no tax in any amount, large or small, can be levied to support any religious activities or institutions. That wasn't said anywhere. That was just like a thing that he came up with, I would argue, because of how he interpreted the actual amendment itself. Not what Jefferson said, because Jefferson didn't mention anything about taxes.
Well, hey,
reading through this judge's actual statement on it, it doesn't seem like he just came up with all this shit because Jefferson said erect a wall between church and state.
I mean, hey, if money is speech, then I can perfectly understand that.
Yeah, but that came later.
Oh, really? Okay.
But also, like I pointed out on Damon's stream, if money is speech and corporations are people, then corporations shouldn't be able to own other corporations because it's slavery.
Oh my god.
Yep.
But just like PragerU, I don't think we're actually allowed to follow things through their logical end.
Does that make an employee a word slave?
Oh my god, I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that, man. Once again, I'm gonna take the side of religion and say that, you know, I didn't hear what you just said.
All right, so let's keep going then.
Okay.
All right.
How ironic that the author of the Declaration of Independence, which recognizes the proposition that human beings have inalienable rights from their creator and not from government, was now being used to separate
that means rights
square.
Away from aliens, right?
So this is really funny right here. Inalienable rights from their creator. So the reason a lot of these guys used God in a lot of stuff that they said was, yeah, a lot of them were religious. Probably Jefferson too. I don't know for a fact, but I mean, I think the only one that a lot of people actually speculate may have been an atheist was Benjamin Franklin, I think. But I haven't even looked into that enough to say. But most people, even now, are religious.
Yeah.
Even more people then were religious. So, yeah, it makes sense that a lot of them would have thought this.
Exactly.
I don't think this, but I come from a different time than them.
Yep.
And
300 years in the future.
I've looked into a lot more shit than they would have ever had access to. So I don't know why, like Justin said earlier, it's like they treat these guys like gods themselves. Like their word was just the end all be all for this.
Like I said, they're mythical figures, you know.
Inalienable rights from their creator. That is how they worded it, sure.
I mean, technically it was other way around, but whatever.
Yeah, but whatever. But yeah, sure. If you really, really want to, these guys were religious. Does that mean we have to be religious because the guys that founded our country were? I think that's a really, really weak argument.
It's not an argument.
Exactly.
It's literally not.
But then, like, what was the next part that they had?
Yeah, let's see what they say next.
Was now being used to separate religion from the public square.
Religion from the public square. This isn't actually what happened. The public square is where anybody is able to go and basically say whatever the fuck they want. I can't stop somebody from going to the street corner and preaching to anyone and everyone that walks by. In fact, I've seen that a lot, especially when I lived down in San Diego. But there is no separation between religion and the public square. There's separation between religion and forcing things into the public square. Individuals can go do whatever the fuck they want.
For Jefferson and the other founders, religion was central to the entire American project.
Did he just say Jefferson? Did he just say Jefferson?
He just said Jefferson.
Religion was central to the entire American project. Separate religion from the public square. For Jefferson and the other founders, religion was central to the entire American project.
Yeah, I'm sure that's why he gutted all the supernatural shit out of the Bible.
Yeah, and I mean, Justin, you pulled out the quote from Adams.
Yeah.
So there's one of the founding fathers.
And once again, we have them trying to push this idea that the founding fathers thought as some type of collective when they were actually individual people.
Yeah.
There's a reason that convention lasted so fucking long, because none of these guys could agree on a goddamn thing. And there's also a reason we had to do this twice, because we couldn't agree on anything. We fucked it up once, and then we came up with the Constitution. And we still fucked it up, and we had to fix it with the Bill of Rights.
Yeah, that's something that I feel like that's a weirdly little known fact of history, that like Constitution, the Bill of Rights was basically like, the 2.0 version of that. I even forget like what the first crack at it was called.
The Articles of Confederation?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, they had a convention. The Articles of Confederation actually was the law of the land for some time. I don't remember how long. But there was a rebellion by some plantation owner. And it had something to do with taxes. Because remember, that's a big reason why the Revolutionary War happened in the first place. This plantation owner, I think it was the Shays Rebellion.
It was all of 3 years and 4 months that it was in law.
That's longer than I thought it was. But yeah, because of the way they set up how taxes worked, it had to be run by the states. And there was no centralized military. So basically, the federal government had no teeth, and they couldn't print their own money because they pushed out handling currency to the states. And this is also why we have the clauses in the Constitution now where currency and then identifying things like your driver's license, your birth certificate, all that sort of stuff crosses state lines. That's why all of that stuff is actually written the way it is, because it was so bad with the Articles of Confederation. You had states that just would not accept shit from other states. They didn't like the format that it was in, or they said that, oh, well, that state owes us money because they borrowed stuff, and now because they owe us, we're not going to recognize any identification from over there. Everybody had to handle their own mail. It was a mess. And then because taxes had to be done, Dennis Prager's a communist. Because everything had to be done stateside for taxes, but the federal government was still bugging the states to be able to pay for the war, because now they owed a whole bunch of money to people. They went and asked the states for money. States went and asked individuals for money, and really the only ones that had any were these rich plantation owners. This one guy ended up deciding, I have enough money. I'm just going to hire my own militia. You can come take my money if you want. I'm not paying you a dime. And then that whole thing blew up. And finally what ended up happening was everybody started looking around and said, yeah, I don't think this is working the way that we wanted it to, so let's try again. And the second convention to finally come up with the Constitution that we have took a really long time for them to figure out. And a lot of the contention was fixed with the Bill of Rights because it was promised we are going to amend the Constitution. That is why the amendment article was put in. We're going to do this. They had to get it out so that they could set up the government to actually work properly. And then they started working on the Bill of Rights. But yeah, ultimately, none of these guys could agree on anything. So this whole shit right here is really, really dumb. And again, they're not citing any sources for it.
Oh, of course not. It's good that you bring that up, because kind of the point I want to make, and I try and bring this up like every single time I see a PragerU video, because the fact of the matter is that when it comes to PragerU, like, yeah, some people will just fucking believe anything as long as it's accompanied by some fucking fancy looking graphics. Like, oh man, it looks pretty nice and it's well presented to me, so it must be fucking true. Like, would this fancy looking fucking video lie to me? That's how a lot of people think when they see videos like this.
Is that all we gotta do?
Yeah. Let's just splice in some like fucking mediocre graphics, because honestly, this shit doesn't seem like it takes that much fucking work. Look how it's super fucking minimalistic. I could do this shit. I could get people who could help me do this type of shit pretty easily. It's not the type of shit I want.
God is good. Hail Satan.
It's not the type of shit I want to do, because I think that PragerU is honestly, it's the type of like ultra, corporatist, like pro-capitalist type of content on YouTube that makes me fucking sick to my stomach. The type of shit that's really killing this fucking platform. Just, YouTube channels which are basically, if they're not corporations, they're just over glorified, groups trying to become corporations. And I hate that shit. I hate disingenuous bullshit like this. And every content creator who creates content for PragerU, you can guarantee you that they're a fucking sellout.
Oh yeah, all sorts of them have already gone on to PragerU. Ben Shapiro's been on there. David Crowder's been on there.
Yeah. There's a huge list. Huge fucking list.
Well, we still got like 2 minutes to go in this, and we've already been streaming for about an hour. So
let's try to power through it.
All right, yeah.
Let's get going.
The Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are just two of countless examples where the government acknowledges its debt to God.
The Declaration of Independence is actually completely irrelevant to the Constitution. It can, at best, be referenced to see like where their heads were at the time, but it's irrelevant when you're talking about legislation.
Debt to God? What?
Yeah, and then they start extrapolating this shit for the rest of the video.
As the famously liberal Supreme Court Justice William O. Douglas wrote in the case of Zorak versus Clausen just 5 years after the Everson decision, we are a religious people whose institutions presuppose a supreme being.
Again, somebody's personal opinion does not matter. Now, this guy was a judge, so unfortunately, this is one of the rare cases where sometimes his opinion does matter. This is why I really, really hate when we get very, very religious people into such powerful positions like that. I honestly really don't care if somebody like the president is religious, but when we get religious judges, I think that is a very, very bad thing. What's wrong?
PragerU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
PragerU is the problem.
Oh, Jay said wrong in chat. I wanted to know if he was talking to me or responding to Damon. Is that you in chat with Underhaven?
Oh yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm the one who called Dennis Prager a communist. You have a problem with that?
Yeah.
Good thing I was just fucking around.
Oh, Jay says what's on screen is wrong.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a natural
Yeah.
response. Yeah.
All right, so let's go.
The founders would certainly have agreed.
No.
Wrong.
The nation's moral infrastructure began to crack.
What the fuck is with this moral infrastructure shit?
In 1962,
I hear Prager mention this a lot. Like the moral underpinnings of our society or our moral infrastructure. What the hell is that? This is why I hate when they talk about morals, because
Society is not
it's
founded
such
on
a
morality.
but it's such a subjective thing. And
That's
I know
why society is not founded on morality. It's founded on like our ability to get along together. Like what is best for the collective.
Dude, right-wing people use this type of thinking all the time. They make intentionally vague type of statements like that so that you infer. Yeah, so that people can infer all types of agendas on it. That's why intentionally vague statements like that exist. Like, of course, they don't want to elaborate on it because they want you to draw your own conclusions based on your own biases. And that's just another way that these videos are meant to make people like keep clicking and keep watching and become more indoctrinated into the agenda that fucking PragerU is pushing.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, let's write up the articles of a moral infrastructure.
But this whole thing about morals, I mean, I know exactly what PragerU is talking about when they talk about morals. They make it perfectly clear if you watch enough of their shit. But it's such a subjective thing. If you take somebody that maybe not only works at PragerU, but like really drinks their Kool-Aid, you take somebody like me, and then you take some apathetic nobody off the street that probably has never considered this question in their lives, and you ask all three of us, you're going to get three completely different answers about what is moral. And most of the time, what I say is probably going to line up with Joe Nobody.
And yet these kinds of people still think morality is somehow objective.
Yeah, and that's hilarious to me.
Like, how can you plainly see that various different people have different morals and still think morality is objective? Am I just being purposely immoral?
Well, we don't even have to like go through time or anything like that. Just go to a different country and go ask them. You're going to get different answers from people in a different country versus what you get from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay, speaking of sex and drugs, let's go to Amsterdam and ask them about morals. Let's go to Saudi Arabia and ask them about morals. You're going to get two widely different answers from both of those places.
In 1962, the Supreme Court struck another blow. It ruled in Engel versus Vitale that a generic school prayer violated the court's new definition of the First Amendment. Listen to the words of that school prayer. Almighty God, we acknowledge our dependence upon Thee, and we beg Thy blessings upon us, our parents, our teachers, and our country. Amen.
Fuck you for praying on my stream.
Okay, hold on. Is that a public school or a private school?
I would imagine a public school.
Otherwise, huh?
I would imagine a public school. Otherwise, it really wouldn't be. I mean, I think it's an issue, but legally, it's not.
I don't think religious private schools should be a thing, but that's another topic. But yeah, I mean, how are you not seeing that as an issue? How is that not the government, because it is a public school, so it's government run? How is that not a government establishing a religion? What, because it wasn't Congress?
Well, he actually makes his point right here.
The prayer was not specific to Christianity or to any religion.
Pause. Who else says amen?
I don't know.
Who else calls their God God? Muslims don't even call their God God. Maybe Jews do?
Yeah. One, I don't know. And I don't care. Because here's the thing. This right here, you cannot say definitively that this is universal.
Yeah, I would very much argue that is at the very least, to use their phrase, Judeo-Christian.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, I should probably put this on a post-it somewhere near my desk so that I know offhand how many religions there are on this planet. But there's a lot. There's like more than 1,000 at least.
Yeah, if you count every individual denomination, because, Christianity is still going to be a big chunk of that.
But, I mean, even if we lump all the denominations together, it's still a lot. So,
Yeah,
you cannot say that this right here is universal.
Okay, I shouldn't be able to change a single, just one word in this and have it be oh so very clearly only regarding one religion. Like, if you just pluck out God and say Shiva. Now, there. We're very clearly talking about one fucking religion. Woohoo. Why does it have to be a specific one?
But also, then, what about people like me? I refused to engage in any of this type of shit when I was in school.
Yeah, I mean, I still argue that we shouldn't be saying the Pledge of Allegiance in schools. Or at the very least, revert it back to what it used to be.
Yeah, the Pledge of Allegiance by itself, the original one, is still a problem.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, it's still fucking creepy. Like, that's still some, like, North Korea Nazi-esque shit. Like,
yeah, it's
pushing making
nationalism.
Children. Yeah, you're still making children that don't know what the fuck they're saying creepily recite by rote some fucking declaration of faith to their country. That's still fucking scary. Like, literally, whenever you see, like, in a movie or a TV show or something, whenever you see another country have their kids reciting their national whatever the hell, it's always displayed as a creepy thing.
Yeah,
right.
I want to say one thing. The Pledge of Allegiance was the first fucking thing that I learned in school. I didn't know what a pledge was. I didn't know what allegiance was. I didn't even probably know what fucking of was. Like, that's the fucking thing. It was the first thing I learned in school. That's the first fucking thing they teach you, man. Like, I didn't know any of that shit, but they made me fucking say it. They made me fucking say it. What the fuck's up with that?
Yeah, as soon as I learned I didn't have to say it, I didn't.
Yeah, I can't remember if, like, I was ever particularly forced to, like, when I first learned it. It was just a thing of, like, okay, it's time for the Pledge of Allegiance, and everybody fucking stands up and salutes the flag or put your hand over your heart, whatever. But, like, they know how to socially construct these things. You don't have to actually demand anything of anybody. It's just, oh, it's time to do this thing. Everybody stand up. We're just kind of walking through the motions. We just do this. You start doing it because everybody else is doing it. When we all first started going to school, how old were we? Did we actually have any idea what the fuck was going on? I know I didn't. I did that shit for years until, I learned that, oh, I don't actually have to do this. And yeah, this does seem kind of dumb. I'm not going to do this because I think this is kind of dumb.
Yeah, I remember when I first learned I didn't have to do it was because we had some kid move from another country and he just started going to our school and he refused to do the Pledge of Allegiance because he wasn't from America. And like a big deal was made out of it until the teacher finally admitted he didn't have to do it.
Yeah, and when I first found out about it, I did get pushback. I remember my teacher said, you at least have to stand up. Like, you can come over here and make me stand up.
Wow, really?
But, yeah, fuck that.
That's awesome. That's fucking awesome.
You cannot make me stand for your flag. You cannot make me pledge to your flag. You can't make me look at your flag. I do not give a shit.
Yeah, I kind of wish I was as rebellious as Vincent was in school.
Really? Once I was out of elementary school, no one made me do that shit.
Elementary school is when it was the easiest. But yeah, anyway.
Like, do or not do.
I never had to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance after that shit.
Yeah,
Well,
I know
eventually,
middle school.
Eventually, it just stopped being a thing.
Yeah, it's true. No one does the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't do that anymore, do they?
I don't know if they still do it, but I know in high school we didn't have it. I think it stopped at my middle school at least, but I don't know how widespread that was.
I didn't have that shit in high school or middle school.
Well, I know I had to do it in middle school, and I went to the same one Vincent did after him. So.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe I'm misremembering, but I don't really remember it in middle school. But again, I don't remember a lot of middle school because I think a lot of middle school is pretty useless.
I'm sure it's probably still a thing down south though. But I'm sure and maybe in California where you guys live and like up north where I live, it's no longer a thing. I'm sure it's still a thing down south though. I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But like that's just the pledge. That's just nationalistic type of shit. This right here, they actually had school prayer. And I know that was a thing for a very long time. And finally somebody fought it here and won. And yeah, that's what's going to happen when you have society evolve past this type of shit.
We never had school prayer when I was a kid, but we did have this thing called the moment of silence. Have you ever heard of that before?
No.
Yeah, I remember there were moments of silence around 9/11.
No, I don't even.
Well, no, that was a thing that we had every day. Like that when you were supposed to it was when you were supposed to pray. They were like, okay, we're gonna have a moment of silence.
When you were supposed to pray, what?
Yeah, well, I mean, they didn't say that you were supposed to pray, but like basically, they did a moment of silence, and it was basically like being like, this is your time to pray.
No. Yeah, no. Never had anything remotely close to that.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Well, it's not like they were telling you that you had to pray. They were it was like them trying to weasel their. It was like them trying to have the best of both worlds.
Even then, I don't recall any moment of silence kind of thing.
Yeah, I just remember it when 9/11 happened. I don't know about any other time.
I don't even remember 9/11 happening.
Yeah, you were young.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I didn't even really
yeah.
know 9/11 was a thing until years after 9/11 was a thing.
I was even younger than
you.
you.
Both of you are young.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Got about a minute of this left. Take us another hour just to get through that.
Dude, Justin, they told us to never forget, man, and we already have.
Since then, the separation of church and state metaphor has been used to remove God and religion piece by piece from American public life.
Good.
The only problem is what I've forgotten.
Yes, we are.
It's hard to argue that we are.
Wow.
I politely disagree, sir.
What a bunch of dipshits.
But let's see his data. Maybe he'll give us a source. We'll be able to investigate a source.
Every cultural and ethical indicator, marriage rates, birth rates, the number of Americans giving
Hold on, pause it. Hold on. Even if he doesn't have exact numbers, one bar is bigger than another. No, there's no way there's more marriages than births.
Yeah,
no.
The funny thing is, I don't think these end up with numbers, percentages,
or
anything.
Hey, look. The amount of Americans that give to charity is more than the amount of Americans actually being born.
Dude, here's the thing, man. I told you, these are just bullshit graphics that are meant to, get things in people's minds and have them derive things without them supplying actual fucking statistics or sources or anything.
Justin.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Justin, this means capitalism is working.
How do you have...
Dude, this fucking sucks, dude. This fucking sucks.
I get that you don't need to get married to have a kid, and I get that you can get married multiple times. But I really and I know these are random bars. They didn't actually put any thought into this. But It bothers me. It bothers me that they have marriage rates as higher than birth rates.
What's the point
There's
of having
no
them as
way
bars?
that's accurate.
Why the fuck are these bars then?
Funny thing is, okay, let's let this expand because he puts more bars up here.
God and religion have faded from American
more useless
life.
bars.
Look.
Wait. The loss religion going down has made birth rates go down. I beg to differ.
Bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Bullshit, man.
I beg to differ that birth rate has dropped in America over time.
But this is why they'll never link any sources, and half the time they won't even give you fucking numbers. This is absolutely.
They could have put marriage. They could have put marriage and charity up there, and at least forced me to look it up. But there is no way birth rate has gone down.
Oh look, more useless bars.
Oh yeah.
Children
Do we get numbers?
Fathers in their lives,
Any numbers?
Problems in schools, and crime have gone up dramatically.
No. Dude. Oh man, what do you think
really?
they're gonna try and get? What do you think they're gonna?
How are there more children without fathers? When the birth rate went down, there should just be less children in general.
I wonder what conclusions they're trying to get people to derive by bringing up these statistics. Could it potentially be racist implications? I wonder.
Visual, it's not even a bald assertion. They're like, there's nothing here.
It's a pretty hairy assertion.
There's absolutely nothing here. They're just words.
And bars.
Yeah, words and bars. That's all we have. Since God and religion have faded from American life, all we have is like a vague timeline. I don't even know when this goes to. I don't know when this starts. I'm assuming with that last Supreme Court decision that we had. But there's no numbers. There's no data whatsoever with these. And I do have points on, even if they did give numbers, why certain things would be what they are. But it's not even worth bringing up because PragerU doesn't even put in the work to give me anything to refute. It's a very pretty graph, though. I like their color scheme.
I don't even know. It's all over the place. They got like 2 shades of yellow and an orange.
Oh man,
it's different. It's different enough.
The colors. You haven't even touched green. Why are you using white?
Here's the thing. The children out without fathers thing looks like fucking puke, man. It looks disgusting. You think that's a good color? That looks absolutely fucking foul. I would never use that in a million years.
Yeah,
like,
but think about it from Prager's point of view, children without fathers is disgusting. That is equivalent to puke to them. So it's fitting. I mean, you gotta tailor it to your audience.
Damon, you were saying that you thought that bar had racist implications. It would have been funny if they made the bar like dark brown.
Don't say that, Justin. Don't say that.
You're late.
But also, let's go.
Dude, if they were a bit more honest, maybe. But you know.
But a lot of these things, like religion, probably doesn't have anything to do with most of them. And even if religion not being in public schools does have anything to do with any of these moving one way or the other, that wouldn't even be the only factor. There are so many other things that go into this. Even if you can track religion to having some sort of influence, it would be so minuscule. Everything else would be major influences on these.
Also, generally speaking, like nationally speaking, crime rates have been on a steady decline for quite a while.
Yeah, that's correct. So this one going up, total bullshit. Behavior problems in schools. Schools have all sorts of problems. That's a whole nother stream that I want to do.
Now you're not allowed to smack them with a ruler, and you're upset about that.
Children without fathers. I mean, I don't even know the data, so
I ignore it
because you ignored it too.
I again doubt that because, and this isn't actually widely known, but divorce rates have also been on steady decline for a while.
Well, here's the funny thing. I do know some data. I don't have links available right now, but marriage rates among different demographics, particular between older and younger people. Younger people are not getting married at the same rate that older people had been. But the divorce rates have been going down with that same demographic. So those that are getting married are staying together.
Good.
Isn't
That's
that better? Wouldn't that fit more in line with their
Yeah, and you know
Judeo-Christian
why?
values?
No, and you know why it's happening? It's because, yeah, actually, here's a good fucking point that we can directly correlate this to the fall of religion. Because now people don't think that they have to get married to fuck.
Yep.
Well, arguably, people never really respected that rule anyway.
A lot of people did.
A lot more
mean,
people did.
A lot of Catholics did. Christians, a lot of them, the majority of them actually, they don't follow every single rule in their good book.
Well, I'm not
Of course, the cafeteria Christians.
Decades ago.
But regardless, like, we actually do have data on a lot of this. Birth rates, fucking bullshit. We're actually having more babies as years go on.
Yeah, that's the one I have the most problem with. Because
But
that's just objectively wrong.
Crime is on a decline. Birth rates are actually going up. Americans giving to charity. I'll give them this one, just so I can make another point. If Americans are giving less to charity, Americans have less money because the growing divide between working class and rich people has been growing ever since the 60s.
It depends what you define as charity, because, I mean, does it count as giving to charity when I just give some money to a homeless person?
Anyone can point to a bunch of statistics.
I'm much more inclined to do that than donate to an actual charity organization, because it has been coming out a lot in recent years that a lot of those charity organizations don't even skim off the top. They skim off the bottom and give that to the actual charity. They just keep that big lump on top.
Yeah,
right.
It's true.
But yeah, I think we've torn this apart pretty well.
Sure.
So
I just want to say, like, anyone can point to a bunch of fucking statistics and, you know, implicit their own fucking agenda and values from it, and someone from the exact opposite political side of the spectrum can make the exact same.
Like you can't even say that, like, just even if all these rates were true, which they're not, but if all these rates were true, you know, the bottom three things were going down over time, and the top three things are going up over time, and also religion was going down over time. Who's to say it was the religion going down that caused all those things? Who's to say it wasn't any other given thing that has been growing throughout history, or throughout recent years? Like, who's to say it isn't the fucking advancement of technology causing it?
Sure, it could be any number of things. Yeah. Statistics are just statistics. I mean, you need to. There could be several factors that lead to just correlation does not equal causation. Is what I should be trying to say.
Right. Yeah. Watch. I'm going to do this right now. Climate change. Okay. So as the mean temperature for the planet has been increasing year by year, I have actually tracked until recently, with a whole bunch of other circumstances, my income went up.
Temperature equals money. You heard it here.
Yep. Wow, that's crazy. Big dollar.
Now I advocate against the Green New Deal because I want to make more money.
Hey, that's how a lot of people come to that conclusion.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but I actually turned it into a message for the working class.
Damn, that's... I don't know how you did that, but okay.
Damn.
I do want to bring up something that someone in the chat said, because apparently Chelsea, she had that pledge until she graduated high school. She was almost suspended for not standing in New Jersey, which is
in New Jersey. Oh my god!
In New Jersey, so she's not much older than I am too. So I think maybe a year or two.
Yeah, I wonder if this is a state by state thing, because I know I never had it in high school.
Almost suspended though. I'm curious how that ended.
Yeah, I wonder if it was just a bunch of threats, and then they realized that they can't actually do shit about it.
Damn, dude.
That would be interesting, because I've had interactions like that in school, where they just make a whole bunch of threats, and then I just call them out on it. Like, no, you can't actually do that. You know you're
Damn,
bullshit.
dude. Damn, dude.
Dude,
I never.
dude, I was such an asshole to them in school. They all fucking hated me.
This is
That's
kind
awesome.
of an aside, but hey, it's the very first aside.
Justin had such a hard time getting all my teachers after they were done with me.
Yeah. My teachers just started off with a baseline negative opinion of me because they had you a few years prior.
Wow.
Yeah,
sorry.
Who was my Spanish teacher? You know what? I'm not gonna name names because we're live. My Spanish teacher in high school.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So he had an in-class policy saying that you had to be in your seat with your notebook open when the bell rang to be not marked as tardy. I was in the classroom, my notebook was not yet open, and the bell rang, so he marked me as tardy, even though I was sitting in my fucking seat. And I actually took that to the office and I opened up the fucking student handbook and pointed to the policy on tardiness or late or whatever. And it was just I had to be in the classroom, and I actually got him to fucking mark me as present and on time because I took it to the fucking office.
Damn,
Nice.
dude, you spoke to the manager.
Oh my god,
you fucking Karen.
You're fucking Karen, dude.
Justin is the OG Karen.
Congratulations.
All right, about 40 seconds left. Right. Let's go.
And all because of one vote in one court case based on one sentence in one letter. On such things.
Oh my god. You mean the government actually did what they were supposed to do? How dare they?
Things nations and history turn. I'm John Eastman, professor of law at Chapman University and a senior fellow at the Claremont Institute.
This guy looks like he was dubbed over. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but he looks like, I don't know, his voice doesn't match how he looks. That's just the best way I can put it. Like, he looks like an anime.
A senior fellow at the Claremont Institute.
A little bit like that dude that voices the fucking bird in Aladdin.
Gilbert Godfrey? Yeah. I like how that's how you know Gilbert Godfrey, just the guy who voices the bird in Aladdin.
Okay, so we are at the end of the video.
Yeah.
That was a whole load of horse shit.
Yeah, it was.
At one point, they actually argued against their own arguments.
You know what? It's funny.
Actually, at a couple of points. They didn't give any actual data. They complained about the Supreme Court actually doing what the Supreme Court was designed to do. And they have no basis for any of the leaps that they actually made, saying that our country is founded on religion.
And then they flashed up a bunch of bars that make you think that religion makes babies be born.
Yep.
Yeah, like no data whatsoever.
Actually, it does seem like religious people have a lot of babies. That's the point.
And here's the thing, like, it doesn't take more than a bunch of fucking shiny graphics to convince a fucking religious person or someone who's already, like, leaning towards these types of beliefs and wants to get suckered into it. And then they just watch a bunch of fucking PragerU videos and give them a bunch of fucking ad revenue.
Actually, I will potentially, I mean, I don't think it's tied to religion. It's actually very directly tied to medicine. But there might actually be an argument that birth rates, at least like per capita, have gone down over time, but that's just because the death rates have also gone down. So a single family doesn't need to pop out 11 babies.
Yeah, well, you know, I disagree. I think we need to have thousands and thousands of babies. You know, every woman should have like 15 fucking kids so they can spread their religion. That's a great idea, totally. Yeah.
Oh shit! Chelsea says in the chat, I don't expect anyone to look at this now. This is a link to one of the news stories that covered me not standing for the pledge. She fucking made it into the news. Holy shit, yeah, I want to see that.
Oh, I might not post because like did you get the link? Because it's not going to show in the chat for other people, but it'll probably show for you.
Yeah, we're not seeing a link.
Yeah, because unfortunately, like only mods can post it. If you
send it to one of us, like over Discord.
Yeah. Send it to me. Just send it to me, and we'll take a look at that. But yeah, I've actually heard like yeah, I've heard about this before. She did get in the news for this. This was like a story.
That's fucking
Apparently.
crazy.
Yeah.
So what do you
Yeah.
guys think the comments are gonna look like on this video?
Let's take a look. I don't. Oh no. Oh man. God.
Comments on what video? This one or the PragerU video?
The PragerU video.
I'm gonna say bold of you to assume this video will get comments.
We're live streaming. I can't have comments yet.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All
it
right.
would be bold of me to assume that I get comments.
Your feed.
I am going
I mean,
to send you the.
this is the most active live chat I have ever had on YouTube, though. Thank you, everybody.
I mean, thank you, Dane.
Yeah, thank you, Damon.
No problem, man. No problem. There you go.
Instagram.
I sent you the video.
Let's see.
A fight over constitutional rights in Collingswood. A high school senior says he's taking a stand, arguing her right to sit during the Pledge of Allegiance. She talked exclusively with our Todd Quiñones tonight about her choice, and it has a lot of people taking sides.
Every day in classrooms, students stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Chelsea Stanton is not one of them.
I couldn't bring myself to recite it anymore because I felt like it didn't respect me.
The 19-year-old former student of the month is an atheist. She has a problem with the words, "One nation under God." So every morning, she sits silently as fellow students stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
I don't think any student anywhere should have to stand up for this.
It's a move people we talk to don't agree with on a personal level.
You'd like to think that they'd have respect and stand anyway.
I would
Okay,
say
hold on.
she should have to say.
What the fuck?
Okay.
Damn.
Even if
You think
religion-
they would have respect and stand anyway?
What the fuck?
Hold on. Let's listen to that one more time. Just let that sink in.
You'd like to think that they'd have respect and stand anyway.
I would.
If we took that same stance for all sorts of shit across the board, this place would be terrible.
Yeah, I'm not. But I mean that's compelled speech.
Yeah.
Either way, like you cannot, like, religious stuff aside, it is compelled speech. A government-run organization cannot force you to say anything.
They sure can try.
Sure, they
sure
can
do.
try.
That's crazy. That's
Sure, they can
fucking-
try. But, I mean, we have this stuff set up the way we have it set up for a reason. And
It's just
my
crazy
God,
that they can even try to do that.
my God, for that woman to fucking say that, like,
Who was
they obviously, it doesn't matter. Like, let's assume that was just some old woman that they found on the side of the road and said, "What do you think about this?"
Random hobo.
But seriously, let's take let's go back, I don't know, 20, 30 years, okay? And we're in an office building. We're in an office building, and the boss is telling one of the secretaries or something, "Hey, so yeah, we're gonna do this thing later, and I'm gonna need your help to help me set up beforehand." So okay, the secretary, she's female by the way, goes and she's alone now with the boss after hours, and her whole job is riding on this. And he starts pressuring her to use your imagination. At this point, we've all heard this story before. You would think to protect her job, she would have just, kind of went along with it anyway. And am I a bad person for saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Oh my
we don't
God.
fucking do that shit.
Yep, exactly. But
Now,
no, it's okay if it's fucking, a school system saying it.
Somebody told me when I was younger, they didn't really follow through with this themselves, but if you see something that's broken, fix it. If you have a problem with something, go do something about it. Well, I took that to heart, so...
I think I know who you're talking about. It was funny that you throw in that they didn't. So that is, that's often, that's disappointing, isn't it?
But,
Damn.
yeah. Like, we don't just sit down and, out of respect for for how things are done normally, just let them continue on as normal. If that were the case, then we would still have segregation. Fuck, we would still have slavery.
Just out of respect for the farm owners, just keep picking the fucking cotton.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna wreck the whole fucking system if you actually do something about it. I mean, yeah, I know it sucks. You're kind of inconvenienced by this, but you know how many other lives you're gonna upturn if you do something about it? That's the logic there. And it's fucking disgusting here, and it was fucking disgusting there.
Say she should have to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Stanton contends she faced...
Wait. What did she say?
Yeah, go to the beginning.
And stand anyway.
I would say she should have to say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Stanton contends she faced possible disciplinary action at school when a teacher began to take issue with what she was doing. She said she was referred to the Student Code of Conduct, which cites a state statute saying students...
they just slap it down.
They're required by law to show proper respect to the flag by standing and removing any headdress.
Bullshit.
Damn, dude. What if I'm Native American?
Let me read this whole thing.
Fuck
New Jersey
that.
requires students to show respect for the flag of the United States of America. If they are conscientiously opposed to the pledge or salute, they may abstain from these ceremonies, but they are required by law to show proper respect to the flag by standing.
By law. What the fuck?
Show proper respect to the flag.
I believe, I don't know if it actually does, but I believe that ought to fall under the same general vein as, the whole, like, how federal law overwrites, those state laws that stop atheists.
You know what? I have a controversial idea. Yeah. I don't think that a piece of fucking cloth should have any right over any fucking human being or demand their fucking respect.
If it's federally ruled we're allowed to light the fucking thing on fire, then it should not be... You shouldn't have to pay respect to a piece of fire.
Right. Yeah, I have a problem. I mean, I have a problem with all the religion shit already, but this is nationalistic type shit. You do not shove, oh yeah, we are the greatest shit on the planet just because we say so. Like this. This is just propaganda. There's probably a better word for it. I'm gonna say subliminal messaging, but that's not right. But I think you know what I'm saying.
It's conditioning, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, exactly. This is social conditioning.
Yep.
Yeah.
This normalizes the idea that this is how we're supposed to think. So fuck yeah, Chelsea.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like that you stood up and actually followed this through.
Yeah.
Or didn't stand up.
I like that you stood up by sitting down. Yeah.
Took a metaphorical stand by sitting down.
Yeah, that's
silent,
awesome.
but are required to show proper respect to the flag by standing during the pledge. Stanton fought back. According to the New Jersey Law Revision Commission, in 1978, that provision requiring students to stand was held unconstitutional by the United States Court of Appeals.
Oh, look there.
All right.
Another win. Another fucking win.
Yeah, Chelsea, she says, I found out that this statute was deemed unconstitutional in the 70s, but my school still printed it in the books. That actually happens in a lot of places. Federal law or even state laws and localities will do this type of shit. They'll actually keep something that is a completely unenforceable law on the books on the off chance that people just abide by it anyway. Or that in the case of social stuff, or in the case of economic policy, in the event that something happens federally or on the state level, they're already prepared for what they want to do. So minimum wage laws, for example, there are, I believe, 2 states that have minimum wage laws below the federal minimum, and they leave them there just in case the federal minimum wage law is repealed.
Wow, those fucking shit-dits. Fuck that.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a thing that happens across the board.
Has never been revised to reflect the ruling. Therefore, school districts across the state might get the wrong impression.
That's the beauty of America, is that you don't have to follow the same religion that like the majority does.
After looking into the matter, the school superintendent here says Chelsea is right. So she's been allowed to sit during the Pledge of Allegiance, and the superintendent says during the summer he will likely look into revising the student code of conduct.
Look
In Collingswood, New
into,
Jersey, Ty Quinones,
likely
CBS.
look
That shit better be a
Do you know if they ever did? How long ago was this?
I don't know.
I don't know. Looks like it was at 11:06 earlier today.
Damn that! Wow.
Breaking news.
Let's see, 2012?
2012. Oh wow.
Damn, dude, a long time ago.
Do you know if they actually ended up taking that out of that handbook, Kelsey?
Oh, was I wrong there?
What?
Visual says there aren't states with minimum wage laws below the federal, but there are states that do not have a minimum wage.
They never changed it? Those fucking fucks?
Most of those states without minimum wage laws are in the South, yeah. I believe that.
They never changed it, man.
Okay, yeah, so I was wrong.
Oh my god.
So does that mean that if a
But yeah, that's actually worse, because if they what was that?
I said, does that mean if a state decided to, for some reason, repeal their age of consent, it would just become 12? Because that is technically the federal age of consent.
Wait, really?
Oh shit,
yeah, just
is it
every
really?
state
what the fuck?
Wow.
That's fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny, actually. People love to rip on Japan for having a low age of consent, but it's kind of the same thing, where like regional ones are higher and they have different laws governing that. But like nobody looks at the fact that technically America's the same.
That's fucking weird, dude. That makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know what to say, man.
Wow.
She says they never changed it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they never changed it. What the fuck?
That's fucking insane.
Unsurprising though.
But again,
students that go there, you should encourage them to start this whole debacle all over again.
If they were gonna change it, they would have said that they were gonna change it. I feel like, not just I'll look into it.
Likely look into it.
Yeah. Fuck
hey, Jewel, what's not true?
Oh, he was probably talking about the age of consent thing, so I'll look it up.
Oh, okay. But
that'll look good on my Google search history.
Totally, yeah.
FBI in 3, 2.
Federal law establishes the age of 12 as the minimum age of consent.
But back on that minimum wage, if those states in fact do not have minimum wage laws, then if the federal minimum wage is repealed and there is no state default to fall back on,
you know what that means.
Yeah, companies can just pay their workers whatever the fuck they want, as long as they don't have like other contracts already set in place.
That's epic. Actually, that's terrible. That'd be the worst thing in human history.
Yeah. I mean, we've already seen shit like all of the stuff with Bloomberg and other actors in New York trying to fight minimum wage increases over there.
Actors? What? Actors?
Yeah, actors.
Like Johnny Depp?
No.
Those kind of actors?
No.
Well, all right then.
They're not that good.
All right. Okay. Well, all right. I think we've is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
But yeah, this was a fun one. Took what, like an hour and a half to get through a 5-minute PragerU video.
Yeah.
It was like almost 6 minutes.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, in all fairness, it's almost 6 minutes. Come on.
Yeah, Jules says they just want to make it hard for people to make a living wage. Yeah, I want to go. I want to go into economic theory and what we should do and all that type of stuff. Not on this stream, otherwise I'll be here for probably another 4 or 5 hours and lose everybody's interest.
That's good that you've at least gone down in history, Chelsea.
Yeah, that's awesome. You made change. You made real fucking change. That's fucking great. Congratulations.
Yeah, I fear that they're trying to keep it on the books just on the off chance that it can stay there and convince somebody to keep doing it.
Yeah, dude, they just can't ever forget, man. They can't ever forget.
Yeah, well, Jules, hang around, subscribe, hit the bell and all that. I'm going to be coming back and doing more of this. I actually have somebody that I'm going to try and get on stream for economic theory. They're a lot more knowledgeable on it than I am. And that one's going to be more me trying to learn more about it. I'm somewhat informed. I know how to maneuver the conversation, but there's a lot of intricacies about how things work and what is actually going to happen when you do certain things in the market that I just never learned. So there's another stream I'm going to be going over gender identities. That's another thing that I never really learned. I've been watching a lot of Vosh lately, and he brought up gender abolition, which I realized that's actually my position. I think I came to it from more an apathetic way, but
yeah, so yeah, I actually know a lot about economic theory too.
Yeah, you can be there too.
No, I don't. I was fucking with you, but
we'll bring you anyway, and then we'll make you learn.
All right, fine, sure. Okay, I'll go on there.
Oh man, one of these days when you talk about the whole future of humanity stuff again, we start talking about like sciencey stuff and the implications of it. We should have them there so you can learn for that too.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. we'll just turn this into the podcast where we teach Damon shit.
Well, all right then. All right.
But I'm actually trying to figure out if I can lump that economic theory conversation into a future of humanity thing, because ultimately I feel like that's the direction that conversation's going to go. But I'm going to have to talk with the guests that I hope to get on there.
Hey, worst case scenario, you can always rename a video after you've made it.
Yeah, true. I do like to be prepared. I want to make a thumbnail for it and all that.
Another thing, it can be edited afterwards, I believe.
Yeah, yes. It can. I just like having the thing sitting there. I just like having the thing sitting there for when people see that I'm going to be streaming at whatever time.
All right, I've got to go make a quesadilla, guys.
All right, well, thank you guys for being here. Everybody who wants to hear more of this type of stuff, this is going to keep going. I'm going to try and have guests on whenever I can. I'll be doing more video responses to things. I'll probably, knowing me, I'll probably hit PragerU again, because that was fun. I probably shouldn't, because they're such an easy target, but that was fun.
An easy target, and yet we got an hour and a half of dissection out of a 6-minute video.
Yep.
Yeah.
It at least sparked a conversation.
Yeah. I knew it would. I knew it would.
I didn't think it'd get that much conversation out of
it. Chelsea says maybe you should go on Vosh. I would love to talk with Vosh. I think Vosh would probably dig into my personal beliefs on things and like totally annihilate me. But he's like he's on another level of really digging into stuff. I want to get to that point before I ever contemplate having a conversation with him. I would like to think that I would be able to like maintain my identity in a conversation with Vosh, but I think he would just rip me to shreds without even trying. I don't know enough about what I hope I already know.
I understand that.
To really have a valid conversation with him.
I feel like I have an idea of like my positions, but I don't feel like my positions and how I think are like well established enough. I don't think I'm at that point where I'm willing to like have a one-on-one and like that type of like conversation with somebody. Like I haven't really ever debated somebody. Like I've had like conversations with people about politics who I disagree with, but I wouldn't really call it a fucking debate because I'm just not ready to like do a debate with somebody.
Yeah. I'm reminded of when we had that conversation with Amos Yee. I don't even really think it was just a debate so much as just like feeling each other out.
Dude, I forgot that Amos Yee existed.
I think most people have by now, unfortunately.
Amos Yee. What a guy. All right. All right, that was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So again, subscribe if you want to hear more. I also have a link for the Discord down in the description of the video, so check that out if you want to have more real-time conversations with us leading up to the next one. And we'll see everybody later.
See you.